All right, everyone, good evening. This is the May 28th, 2025 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone by dialing 408-650-3123 and then using access code 942-845-549, or you can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. So material for tonight's meeting has been supplied to the commissioners. It's also available on our website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the commission. Before we begin, let me determine who is present for this meeting. When I call your name, please answer in the affirmative. Megan Langley.
Here.
Ricky Arizmi.
Here.
Mark Sclamo.
Here.
And me. We have four, so we have a quorum. And Tom Fallon.
Here.
Okay. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So without further ado, the first item on our agenda is the 7 p.m. public hearing. CSX, a request for determination of applicability to manage vegetation within the railroad right-of-way in Auburn as part of their 5-year vegetation management plan. Is there a motion to open?
A motion to open.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed to vote. Is anyone here on behalf of CSX? Okay. Have we heard from CSX or anyone from VHB?
When they sent this application, I think Kip Callahan's his name,
Yep.
he was planning on being here this evening.
Okay, well, he's not here now.
Yay.
All right. Well, there's no one here that I can see from VHB. So we're just going to hold that matter, at least until 7:05. But since I don't like to waste time, let's review the meeting minutes from May 14th. So I've reviewed these. They were very extensive. My only change would have been on, so each of these is printed two-sided, so it would be page 6. It's about halfway down where Megan asked about yellow dog houses at 319 Washington Street. That should be in quotes because obviously they were not dog houses. And aside from that, I had no other changes to the meeting minutes, which I thought were very comprehensive and well done.
Yeah, I don't see any issues.
Okay. Megan, any changes?
I don't see any.
Ricky, do you have any changes to the meeting minutes?
No.
Okay. In that case, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to accept the meeting minutes for the May 14th meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Okay. Okay, we have another minute. So Tom, Mr. Callahan did indicate he was going to be attending, right?
Yes.
At least virtually? Okay. Maybe he is held up somewhere. So we can hold that matter and then go back to it. The next matter on our agenda for this evening is the 7:05 hearing, Gio Nardella, request for determination of applicability to build an addition to a single-family home and remove an existing garage at 5 Friedel Street. Is there a motion open?
Motion to open the 7:05 hearing.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. So we've all had an opportunity to go to 5 Friedel Street. It's a very tight building site. There is a single-car garage at the back of the property. The property is located on a bank next to the stream that abuts it, and it looks like it's a perennial stream. My thought was, given the tightness of the site, I think simply putting up a siltation barrier is not sufficient. My thought was that I would be inclined to issue a positive determination of applicability so that a notice of intent will be filed for this property. Megan, your thoughts?
Yes, I'm also tending to think that, I mean, it's in parts, like where the garage is going to be demoed, probably less than 25 feet from the brook, and the whole site is just very close there to the
Yeah,
brook.
it's no question it's a tight lot, so I think it's gonna be somewhat of a challenge for them to do that. And I think by them getting some professional help with the notice of intent, they can figure out whether they need to request a waiver or whether they can do the work they need to do. I don't think they're planning to replicate the garage. I just think they're going to take it down. But in any event,
Yeah, it just seems like it's probably in everyone's best interest to have a positive determination there.
okay, Mark, what do you think?
I think so too, yeah.
Okay.
He's right on the water.
Okay, and Ricky, you didn't have a chance to see it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anyone here who has any comment about the application for 5 Friedel Street? Okay, there being none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the 7:05 public hearing.
Giovanni just attended.
That's,
Oh, well, Mr. Nadella. Hello, sir.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. So, Mr.
All right, I'm having a hard time with the camera on this.
Okay, well, I can see
Sorry.
you. The important thing is
Oh, okay.
if you can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so actually, we were just talking about your project, and your building site is very tight, and you're right adjacent to the brook there. So we were discussing the fact that we think, given the tightness of the site and its proximity to the brook, that a positive determination of applicability is probably going to be issued. We just don't. It's not clear to us as the commission that simply putting up a siltation barrier is going to be sufficient for the amount of work that needs to be done there.
Okay. So is this in regards to the addition or the demolition of the existing garage?
The whole project, sir.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, it's really the same thing if you think about it, right?
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other information you want to submit to the board? Or are you satisfied with what you've given us?
So if you give a determination of applicability, what's that mean?
It means that you have to file a notice of intent. That's a full-blown application. We would need an engineered plan. We would need what measures you're going to take to protect the adjacent brook. Give us a scope of work and that sort of thing. And I'll be honest with you, sir, it's not something that a layman is easily undertaken by a layman. It's probably someone that you would want to speak to a professional about.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Do you have anything else to offer, Mr. Nardella?
No, I guess that's it.
Okay, well, thank you. We will probably be rendering a decision later on this evening, and you'll be notified by us, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Okay, there was a motion to close, brought by Mark. Is there a second?
I
I
second.
second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, one of the things that garage has a cement slab under it or something,
Right.
and I don't know if that's part of the demo, if he's just gonna leave that.
I think he's gonna, that's why he's gonna get the notice of intent. I think he's gonna have to come up with really a scope of work that, has not been presented to us.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion to close. There's a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, opposed? None. It's a vote. Okay, hearing is closed. The next item on our agenda is a 7:10 public hearing. Luis Guzman, request for determination of applicability to renovate a single-family home at 9 William Street. Is there a motion open?
Motion open,
Okay,
7:10 PM.
all right, is there a second?
second.
Second. Sorry.
You guys are gonna have to coordinate. Maybe one, you should go even, odd, even, I'm not sure. And, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. So again, this is a project, we've all had the opportunity to go out to 9 William Street. The house is set, I don't want to say it's in a gully, but it's in a low-lying area that seems really wet to me. I had an opportunity to speak to a gentleman from across the street who kind of gave me a bit of the history of the site. I mean, it just seems to me that given how wet that property is, and I don't know if it's because there's high groundwater there, but there's no question there's a wetland system very near there. And it just occurs to me that that I think it really requires a notice of intent to determine how that wetland area is going to be not only protected, but also how the applicant is going to perform his scope of work on the project. So, Megan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, based on what I saw, I definitely agree. It is a little bit confusing, looking at it on a map. It doesn't. There's nothing that indicates there is a wetland system there, other than it is kind of low lying. But visibly, I mean, it was very wet, and I definitely wouldn't be comfortable disregarding that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I went out last night and we had not had rain probably in 3 or 4 days, and it just the site just is extremely wet back there. Hopefully, the gentleman can get his project done, but clearly it seems to me that it needs a positive determination. But again, those are my thoughts. Mark, what do you think?
I think the same, we noticed one spot under the existing foundation, there was no ground under it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've seen that on,
I looked.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
clearly there's a fair amount of work that
Yeah,
has to be
there's a
done.
lot of, either the water table's high there or something, and like I said, it's low, so I'd say a positive determination myself.
Okay. It does not appear that anyone is there any comment from the public about 9 William Street? All right, and I don't see that Mr. Guzman has joined us. So, that being said, is there a motion to close the public hearing for 7:10?
Motion to close the public hearing for 7:10 PM.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, well done. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. All right, we have one more minute before 50 Washington Street. I don't know if anyone is here for Rockland Road. Is there anyone here for Rockland Road? I just wanted to let you know, sir, that, let me try to paraphrase this. A new plan is going to be submitted for that property. I understand that there was a planning board meeting, I believe, was it yesterday or last night, Tom?
Last night.
And apparently, I guess the owner of the property has been instructed that that road is going to be paved. He's been instructed that apparently it's going to be a total of 4 inches of macadam, of asphalt that's going to be poured. And so in order to do that, it's going to increase the impervious area and as a result, there's gonna have to be detention. So that's all kind of a long-winded way of saying that they're not coming tonight and that we expect that there'll be a new plan submitted. I can't say when that's gonna be. I don't know if it will be on, in time before our meeting on June 11th, but just did not want to keep you waiting to be told that they're not coming up, they're not showing up tonight.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir. So, but we will, we will stay tuned. All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is 7:15, public hearing, Eastland Partners, a notice of intent, construct a pad-ready site at 50 Washington Street. Is there a motion to open?
Motion to open 7:15 PM hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Can you just identify yourself again for the record?
Of course, Jim Bernardino, with Turning Point Engineering,
Okay.
representing the applicants, 190 Washington Realty, 190 Washington LLC.
So I think even before you get started, have you seen the letter that Emma Williamson submitted on May 22nd?
Yes,
Did you prepare a response to it?
I have not prepared a response to it at this moment.
Okay,
We've been evaluating and speaking with the development crew for Eastland
okay,
about how they are going through it. In reviewing the letter, I don't see any fatal flaws. A lot of it is more technical and things of that nature, which we will address and provide that to the DPW. But one item that.
well, you also produce it or provide it to us too.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
because what I'm going to talk about is going to impact the Conservation Commission directly.
Okay,
If you'd like, I could start discussing that topic and kind of giving you a little update of where we are, what's been happening.
sure.
Unless there's something else that the commission wants to discuss,
Well, no,
subject to any reviews or things of that.
I mean, as long as you understand that we're not going to close a public hearing tonight.
Oh, completely understood. We don't even have a DEP file number yet.
Still?
Still,
All right.
been over a month.
So why don't you bring us up to speed since our last meeting then?
Okay, since our last meeting, obviously no DPW, no DEP feedback at this point.
Okay.
Midweek last week, we did receive comments from the DPW. Again, I'm all mixed up.
That's right.
DPW regarding the land disturbance permit application.
Right.
They thoroughly went through, provided comments regarding all the drainage, which we take no exception to responding to those and addressing them appropriately. One item that I believe is going to be directly in the consideration of the Conservation Commission is one of the comments that they want us to elaborate and provide some more detailing on the hauling process of truck routes, how that's all going to come about. Seeing that we're getting a little closer to the end, Eastland brought their heavy equipment guys in and we all sat down and had a good powwow on how this is all going to really happen in the
Okay.
real world. I'm going to pass out a draft of the travel route and things of that nature. 1 and 2, and I have a large one up here as well. You want to pass that?
Yep.
Thank you. With that said, I'll kind of dive into where we are. Just for a quick focus, let me go over here. So basically, this is the overall site. This is the access road with 190 right here. We've discussed with the heavy construction group over at Eastland on how they're actually going to operate this and to minimize impacts, number of trips between the two properties and the like. They are looking to use their heavy construction equipment, their rock trucks, which would provide 35 to 40 tons per trip versus a triaxle that they would normally have of 20 tons. So hopefully that would cut down construction impacts, cut it in half. But by doing so, using these larger equipments, we've been informed that they can't go on the road. So they originally thought that there may be some adequate room to traverse between the two sites, between the right-of-way and the bordering vegetated wetland, to come across into the site for the filling operations. Now, there was a notice of intent that was filed for a right turn lane to come into the site here. And that pretty much put a TOA slope right at the wetland boundary,
Right.
which was approved. So what we did was, over the last few days, I've sharpened my pencil and looked at what would be necessary for a truck to safely traverse off the right-of-way between the wetland and the right-of-way. They need about a 12-foot wide gravel strip for these larger trucks to traverse back and forth. If you're aware of that area, we got Route 20 and it just drops right off to the wetland.
Right.
So I'm gonna put up a plan, but with this sloping down, what we're looking to do is just build up a 4-foot wall, level it off before that right turn lane gets constructed. And that'll give us adequate room. But by doing so, we need to creep a little further than we did previously, which would result in a temporary impact to the wetland, a temporary wetland fill. And as such, we need
How much?
517 feet, I believe the number was.
Okay.
So what we have was, we're just looking at a 12-foot wide gravelled area here. On the downhill slope, we were looking at installing a block retaining wall, gravity wall, no higher than 4 feet to be, so it doesn't need to be structurally, it's going to be temporary, so we don't need to put geogrid and things of that nature down. I wanted to discuss with the commission on that because our scenario with the retaining walls, which are highlighted in pink here, and we also have a low wall on the other side, on the uphill side. This is really the pinch point of what's happening here. That will result in 2 areas of minor wetland fill. All right, so previously, the green was pretty close to the limit of work that we had previously. We're bumping that out, and what's highlighted in pink here is the area of wetland fill. We're going to need to extend our drain pipe about 11 feet and another drain pipe about, I think it was 7 feet or something like that, just so that we're able to construct a wall and fill. By doing so, this will allow us to have a 12-foot wide level. It will have a cross slope, but an adequate cross slope for the trucks to trespass back and forth. The plan that we provide shows faintly on the backside what the final slope that was approved previously, which went right down to the wetland edge. However, in a little bolder font is the proposed grades that would be the intermediate from beginning until they're ready to construct the roadway winding.
All right.
And resulting in about just over 500 square feet of temporary fill, temporary wetland impact. And I want to just discuss with the commission, because obviously I need to put some new narratives and verbiage together, because this is a pretty significant change to the notice of intent. So we want to talk to you tonight about what your thoughts were for replication. Obviously, the applicant's not opposed to replication. Putting in this block wall in, we could leave that the way it is rather than pull the blocks out and recreate the wetlands there and provide mitigation someplace else within the property to offset at whatever ratio the commission may find necessary. So wanted to kind of talk to the commission tonight about what your views would be. Hey, let's get it back to what it was originally, or replicate someplace else and be done with it. Or so some feedback, and then I could put the final package together and come back to the commission.
Well, I mean, I will offer my opinion, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the other members of the commission, but it seems to me if you're, but we won't call it filling in, but if you're altering the wetland there, I think replication elsewhere is probably a better idea than trying to undo, or after you put the wall in to take it out. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I will tell you that in other cases where projects have called for the filling in of wetland, what other applicants have done has been to replicate on a 2-to-1 basis. So for example, if you said it's 558,
We had. Make sure I got on the right one.
okay,
No, 517.
517. So it seems to me replication of, say, on a 2-to-1 basis elsewhere is more practical than trying to reestablish that wetland after it's been altered. It's probably cheaper too, I would think.
It would be. I mean, right now, I think it's more important to get the operations done quickly, you know.
Sure,
So,
that's just my opinion.
okay, very
So-
good. We appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
Megan, what do you think, Megan?
We don't have this plan in our packet this week, correct? This was just drafted?
You're right. It was just handed to
It's
us.
brand new, and I do apologize for that.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess before I have all my thoughts, I definitely want to be able to look at a copy of the plan.
Well, are
And-
you at home?
What's that?
I said, do you have access to a TV? What's Urban Cable Television? Do you know the television number?
192.
192?
No, I don't have cable.
You can do YouTube as well.
It's on YouTube. But in any event,
It's just I'm not going to be able to see it that clearly. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
you're
I
right,
just
and,
want to
and
like.
that's fine. And so, you shouldn't have to make a snap decision. And obviously, the public hearing is going to be continued anyway, so that's fine. Mark, what do you think?
So this is, some of the area's already been filled and built up? Is that where this is gonna take
No,
place?
some of the area that's been filled in and built up is a little landing area up over here when you pull in.
Oh,
This
okay,
area
so-
that's really close to the wetland is existing vegetated, right now.
All right.
So there's no fill in that area.
Okay, all right, so that's further west on 20.
Further west, yeah,
Okay.
a couple hundred feet.
Okay, so that's really hasn't been touched yet except for the silt fence.
Correct. So
Now, after all the material is transported from 190 to 50, are you going to leave that gravel road in place, or what are you going to do with that gravel road?
with that gravel road, we could top seed and dress it. But truthfully, at the end of the day, with this gravel road, it's going to get filled in.
Okay,
Because right now, what we're doing is we're bringing up the wall, flattening it off,
I see.
and at the end of the day, we're going to fill right over it.
Okay.
So it'll be filled over with riprap, stabilized.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And
Could you, for my benefit, again describe why this is needed, like to reduce the need to go onto 20, and
yes.
like if you did not do this, what would you have to do?
Okay, if we did not do this one, I do apologize for this being last minute, and there's no expectations of force feedback or anything like this tonight. So we just wanted to get a kind of general idea of where we were heading, because we wanted to solve this when Emma sent that letter maybe midweek last week.
Right.
So we came together with a plan, and we figured we at least had an opportunity to discuss it with you. But to answer your question, if this were to happen and we were required to utilize Route 20 as an access road, obviously DOT roadway has certain specifications and weight limits on their trucks and things of that nature. So we would be required to use a smaller construction vehicle that is DOT access way approved. But what Eastland has is they do have a flurry of different types of equipment at their disposal, and they have what they call rock trucks, which generally have twice the capacity of the DOT approved roadways. Now, this would allow us to bring twice as much material per trip back and forth, stay off the roadway, and would actually reduce the time and the amount of trips required by half. Because the DOT approved roadways, we would have to deal with the triaxle. We couldn't do a dump trailer because of the size of the site. Long story short, the dump trailer has about 20 tons of material they can move per load versus these rock trucks, which have 35 to 40 tons per load. So twice as much.
Well, if at 40 tons, you're still talking over 2,000 trips.
Yes, even at that. So they do have multiple. Originally, they were contemplating 3 trucks.
Okay.
You know, running around in an 8-hour synopsis. So if you could load 1 truck every 10 minutes, each truck is 6 per hour. So you get 18 trips per hour.
That seems optimistic.
It's optimistic, perfect weather, round trip, but optimistic, you're still talking 21. You're still talking about a full month
Right.
with the optimum equipment running at an optimum content with
And
no
assuming no bad weather.
bad weather. So double that timeline because of the bad weather, and I need a truck over here instead for this 2 days.
Okay.
So the way those wrapped up, so we're hoping that a 2 to 3 month process will get knocked down to a month and a half.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's good.
So
All right. So we're waiting for obviously a DEP file number along with DEP comments.
correct.
Is there anything else you want to offer this evening?
Just a heads up to the commission. What I will do is I'll formalize the plan set with this as an added sheet. I'll provide 2 additional sheets, which would be a grading and drainage plan, and then one that will be just an erosion control plan to add to the set. At a larger scale, at 20 scale, just because we need that detail, because we're only talking a couple feet in between lines and walls and things of that nature. So I will prepare the revised plans as well as a revised Form 3, outlining the modified impacts, go through on how we address the standards for those impacts, kind of give you the whole package over again.
Okay.
Less maybe a fact drainage report or something to that effect.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So
Thank you, sir.
with that.
Any comments from the audience? Yes, ma'am. State your name, please. Ms. Goodrich?
Thank you, Doreen Goodrich, 50 Winford Drive. So after I finish my comments, I would be curious to know if you went on the site visit and what your thoughts were about the land. But this is like kind of brand new to
Well,
me too tonight.
I understand that, and I think, there's an understanding that this is, this is going to continue for a while. So, we have walked the site. Obviously, you have issues that are a little different from this issue, but I'm aware of your issue, obviously.
But I do want to talk to the road that he just proposed, or the easement, or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
If these trucks need to get special DOT permits for overweight limit, right?
Mhm.
And I watched the planning board meeting last night too, like concerns for a gravel road. How can we believe that, like, just putting a simple little gravel road right there is going to be safe to have 2,000 trips? And what
Well-
happens if that
Well,
truck goes over?
So, ma'am, keep in mind, this is off of Route 20, so this is going to be on their property.
Oh, no, I understand that.
So, I presume that it's in their interest to make sure that the work is done safely, that if they don't do the work safely and there is some sort of problem, I guess worst case scenario, material or rocks, falling onto Route 20, there will be a response to that, probably not a very favorable response to the developer.
Well, I wouldn't think that it would go on to Route 20. I would think because the property goes down like this,
Yeah.
I would think that the truck would go this way,
Well-
and now you've got a truck going into the wetlands.
Well, ma'am, anything's possible, right? And I think if you know, we're not afraid to issue enforcement orders. We do it all the time. And in fact, we've done it on certain aspects of this project, not necessarily Mr. Bernardino, but other aspects. We have issued enforcement orders, and they have actually been pretty responsive in terms of addressing those concerns. So I take your point. I believe that they will have to come up with a plan that is safe, and if there are any problems, then we'll address those problems as they come up.
Okay, and I just want to be sure that I understand what, because I know they have to go before planning board. I don't know if they have to go before ZBA. they are here before you for the work that they will be doing in proximity of the wetlands, which is that area right there.
Right, at 50 Washington Street, correct.
Correct. And then the wetlands in the rear will be addressed later.
Well, I'm not sure exactly which wetland area you're talking about, because this is only to establish the site. I mean, there's no construction plan there currently. If there's, once I guess the property is sold, whoever comes in or whoever wants to put a building up there is going to have to come before us as well. And so this is just strictly to get the site ready for that sort of construction later on.
Right, but a pad-ready site is basically ready for a building.
Well, that's correct.
I just have, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this because it's quite the piece of property the way it drops off.
It absolutely is, for sure. Any other comments?
Yes.
Sir,
I live at 58B Winbrook Drive,
your name is, sir?
Daniel Verge,
Mr. Birch?
and my house runs right along down where the wetlands are, where they're not talking about, they never do. On the right-hand side,
Okay,
excuse me. This is my house right here. Here's a
okay,
road. This is all wetlands here. And I've already had 2 trees fall on my house from the last meeting I was here. And there's 3 more right here that are dead that are leaning toward my house. And this is all wetlands. I'd like to show you some pictures.
okay.
They were only this wide before they knocked off all the trees.
Mhm.
Now, it's probably 5 to 8 feet wide. And it's raging water when it rains out that comes down. You can see here. This is coming down right here, see it? This only used to be about 2 feet wide. And since they knocked all the trees down, it's just getting wider and wider, and it's like a foot away from the road.
Yep.
Now, I have a video, I'd like to show you.
Yeah, sure.
This is coming down, as you can see.
Okay.
Coming down, the road is right here.
Where's your house in relation to that?
It's probably the width of this room away.
Okay.
And, let's see. I have the videos.
Okay.
Before you guys conclude this, can I ask a quick question? When C 1.2, in reference to the trees that he's referring to, I believe the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably, I don't know, 15 dots of trees. Is that not in the wetlands? Isn't the wetlands the plus sign area in the plans?
This only used to be about this wide.
Okay.
And they knocked all the trees down.
So,
There's a culvert off of Route 20 from the Honda dealer that
all right,
comes down.
Mr. Bernardino, are you familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay. So I think what Mr. Verge is saying is that because of when that property was cleared and it was pretty much clear cut, as I recall, it then increased well and flow, and now it's having an adverse impact on his property.
I would not anticipate that the clearing affected his flow.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if this is the elevation of his property, clearing of the property is down gradient.
Mhm.
The concern really is that 24-inch culvert coming in off of Route 20.
Right.
That's uncontrolled.
So when you say uncontrolled, you
When I say uncontrolled, it's not brought to the wetland. There's no defined channel.
Okay.
It's coming out the back and it's literally going wherever it likes.
okay. Do you think it's undersized? Do you think it needs to be rebuilt?
No, I think it needs to be directed.
Okay.
Meaning the water comes out, there's shoals, there's wetlands, there's down trees. Literally, a tree that falls down can send water into
Sure.
the other property.
And who do you think owns that?
This,
The culvert that you're talking about?
that culvert discharges onto the abutter's property.
But
So
who owns it?
it would be a DOT culvert.
It would be a DOT.
Yes, that's a it's going under a DOT roadway, so I'm not 100% sure on who that. I would believe it would be a DOT culvert.
Now,
It's within their roadway.
as part of the project at 50 Washington Street, have you been having any discussions or dealings with DOT?
We've had DOT, we've had a temporary access permit.
Okay.
They've seen our preliminary plans, but they have not reviewed the drainage on the site at this current point.
Okay. it sounds like what you're saying is that this is not an issue that was created by Eastland, but by the DOT. That the
Correct.
DOT needs to do something with that culvert.
Right, so what we're looking at is we're looking at 3 different culverts on this property that are coming out.
Uh-huh.
We have the 24-inch,
Right.
there's a couple others that are coming here. And right now, they're just kind of meandering down towards the wetland. The proposal would be to put a reinforced swale in to direct the flow down and around to the wetland safely. That was one of Emma's comments in the land disturbance permit, provide some calculations for those, which we will gladly do. And part of that is, we will also consider what flow is coming out of here to make sure that this conveyance down this area will handle that as well. Basically, it's a bypass. What we need to do is, conditions here is not a result of tree clearing of this property, it's just Route 20 drainage that's literally, this pipe is about 4 feet, a 24-inch pipe, and the gentleman's shed is right there. Right here, and the pipe's up here.
Okay.
So it's a very unique situation, and I know Eastland would be able to handle providing that bypass, swale structures. Part of this is also being under negotiation with the adverse possession claim that the abutters do have.
Right.
So obviously, we can't propose anything if it's on our property or not at this point. We can't propose any improvements, but it does flow down along this edge that we are currently contemplating as within our limits of development.
Right.
And I'll size that for that 24-inch pipe. Later on, when everything's said and done with that court case, I'm sure that there'll be some sort of improvement that would be needed to this culvert, meaning just direct it to the right
But it
spot.
seems like DOT is a necessary party, wouldn't you agree?
DOT would be, well, DOT's, we have had a discussion like that with them briefly, and it's on our property. It's, hey, we got the right to discharge, we're discharging, you can do whatever you want with on the property. But the second you say, in the DOT right away, I want to put a manhole and pipe it, they will have, more comments or more,
All right.
Feedback with that. If it's just, hey, we're working on our property, as long as we unimpede their drainage, they don't have any issue with it.
Well, is there an opportunity perhaps to solve the abutters issue with the work that you're proposing?
Not without consent of the neighbors.
Of the DOT, and also the DOT?
Not necessarily. We don't have to do any type of physical structural improvements within the right of way. What, based upon my observation of what's out there, I would be looking to stabilize where it comes out from the riprap apron and direct the flow around. And that's, most economic and with the highest capacity would be an open swale, which we are proposing along the edge down here.
Okay, all right, very good.
So, and then obviously, if there's any buildings in the future or things of that nature, DOT would be looking at the access permit with that.
Right. Okay, Mr. Rich?
Yes, I disagree with what he's saying. I've been here 13 years, and before they cut all the trees down, there was probably a runway about 2 feet wide.
Mhm.
Now, as you saw in these pictures, since these trees have been cleared, how it's redirected everything and how much wider the water.
Well, clearly it's an issue that has to be, I think, addressed.
And Eastland owns the land. I mean,
But if the culvert is owned by DOT, it seems to me they're a necessary party to any discussion. Wouldn't you agree?
well, I think the Honda dealership, when they changed everything, they put all stone down, so
Uh-huh.
everything was directed right into that culvert.
Okay, all right. Again, keep in mind, we're not closing the public hearing tonight, so you'll have an opportunity to offer comments as we go forward.
Yeah.
Ma'am?
Barbara Gillespie. Last year, I believe Eastland came out with a plan to help fix that water thing. And they showed us diagrams, they put stone in there, direct it and all this. It all hinged on us letting them tie into our sewer, which we have refused to do.
Right, I understand.
So they did come out with a plan, but they're not gonna do anything because we won't let them tie into our sewer.
Okay,
And we do have a court case coming on June 12th.
what's that scheduled for?
the adverse possession.
No, I know that, but I mean, what kind of hearing is it? Are you going to
It's
trial?
with a judge. She wants to meet in a Zoom call with all the board members of the park.
Okay, I'll have to look at the docket. I looked at the docket, I looked at the case.
Yep.
So, but all right. So maybe it's a pretrial conference you're having? Do you know?
It could be.
Some
but
sort of status
it's
conference?
with the judge.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, sir, Mr. Birch?
Yes, I'd like to know if we could have anybody from the town come down and look at all the trees that are there in that water.
Mhm.
Because there's nothing holding these trees now, and 2 or 3 of them are dead, and they're leaning right onto my bedroom. I already had 2 fall on my house already.
Perhaps we can get someone from DPW to go down there. Okay, but we'll make a request.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'll talk to Eastland too as well.
Any other comments, please? Make them short, please.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for taking the time to go through this. And in case I don't make the next meeting, my real concerns are filling in. You know the number of dump trucks they're bringing in to fill this in.
Mhm.
And just talking about that swale, all I ask is that we please be careful because those are people's homes down there. They're modest homes,
Mhm.
and they don't have the ability to replace it if they're flooded out.
Understood.
And it's, I mean, I look at the photos. I'm fortunate, I'm up on the other end,
Mhm.
but I care greatly about my neighbors, and this is a significant project.
Clearly, understood.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're going to continue the public hearing to June 11th. Tom, do we have anything scheduled for June 11th?
Nope.
Okay, so why don't we haven't heard anything from CSX, so we can talk about that.
Sure.
Why don't we schedule 50 Washington Street for 7:05 on 6/11? And can I have a motion to that effect, please?
Motion to continue the hearing on June 11th to 7:05, you said?
Yes.
7:05.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Excuse me, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's a vote. All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yes. We'll have some more information later.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, of course.
I'm gonna make some copies of this. Send them out to,
Let me send you a PDF.
Oh, that'd be great.
This is a draft.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna massage it a little bit. but
Oh, all right, yeah.
That's 90% there if you want to
Okay.
start talking,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to.
I'll send it, yeah, I'll just send them a copy of this, but I mean, they're aware that you're gonna be updating it.
Yeah, and I'll shoot you a draft of that tomorrow, and I'll just say.
Sure.
Portion, it is marked draft.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you all again.
The next matter on our agenda is 7:20 public hearing. Train Storage LLC and notice of intent for 319 Washington Street. Is there a motion open?
Motion to open the 7:20 hearing.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Sir. State your name again, please.
Stephen Fusco.
Mr. Fusco.
Associates.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. Good.
Good, thanks. So we've all had an opportunity to walk the site. It's a lot of material. How are you doing, or how is the, I guess, the applicant doing in terms of excavating that material? I guess what I'm asking is, at what stage in the excavation process are they at, if you had to estimate?
I would say 90%.
Okay,
Yeah, I think they're just doing fine right now.
Okay.
I know they're putting in the liner for the subsurface on like the upland portion of the site right now. So I mean that's at bottom elevation.
okay,
So it should be done.
okay, all right. I mean, I have no other comments, sir.
Okay.
Mark, any comments? No. Megan, any comments about 319 Washington Street?
No.
Megan, you?
Sorry, I said no. I don't know. It didn't come through. Sorry.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, Ricky, any comments?
No comment.
All right, very good. All right, so I think we'll probably close the public hearing tonight. I can't say that we'll get to the order conditions, but, you know, we have 21 days to do it, so if we don't do it tonight, we'll certainly do it on June 11th.
Okay.
Okay?
For
Any
June
comments?
11th, do I need to?
You do not need to come.
Okay. I guess if anything, you need anything, just, you got my phone number. so
Sure,
reach
absolutely.
out to me.
All right, thanks for coming.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good
Okay,
one.
you too.
Cheers, Steve. Thanks.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the 7:20 public hearing.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, it's a vote. Okay, and before we, and as I said before, we had scheduled a hearing at 7:25, Insight Engineering for 47 and 49 Rockland Road. At the request of the applicant, that hearing is going to be continued as a new plan has to be submitted. I don't know, do you think they're going to have it done by June 11th?
I don't know.
So we'll just continue that matter generally. Going back to the 7 PM public hearing, is anyone here on behalf of CSX? All right. I think, and I don't know if there was a, maybe a miscommunication, but I think for a plan like this, it's always best to have an in-person presentation. So let's continue the public hearing for CSX to June 11th at 7 PM. And I think send notification to Mr.
Callahan.
Mr. Callahan that we expect to have that someone from VHB should be present either remotely or in person to present it. Okay. Let's see. Ma'am, can I help you with something?
Yeah, hi,
Hi.
my name is Jean Sarge, and I spoke to, I think you.
Yep,
down
come on,
before.
come on up, have a seat.
Yeah. Just about some removal of some ash trees on my property.
Okay. Are you near a wetland?
Sorry?
Are you near a wetland?
Yeah,
Then you have to file with us.
okay. So he sent me this?
Yep.
And there's that's where the trees are.
Okay, that's right, where the trees are? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a runoff in that area.
So we get these requests, I'd say pretty often.
Okay.
That is Prospect Street,
Okay.
that's Hill Street,
All right.
and obviously you can see the brook is like right there.
So what, the form is available online. It's not a particularly difficult form to fill out,
Okay.
but we really need to have that submitted to us so we can consider your request.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
So
Does someone need to come out to the property to look at it?
we'll take a look,
All right,
for sure.
Okay.
Okay?
And then what's the process after I fill out the form?
What will happen is that you have to submit it. There's a filing fee, right? Or is there?
Yes, it's $25 for the
Yeah,
RDA.
filing fee, it gets put on our agenda, and then we take a look, and then we have a public hearing, and then we, after we, hear from you, or have, and have had the opportunity to go to the property, we close the public hearing, and then we make a decision. So I can't tell you that we can get you on the agenda for June 11th, but I'm certain we can get it on the agenda for June 25th.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Alrighty, thank
Could you send me the copy of that
Yeah,
to my email?
yeah.
And what I'll send you the RDA. You know,
Okay.
it's like 3 pages, a pretty brief document. I
Alright.
can fill in some information to mark my parcel, make it easy
That'd be
for you.
great. Yeah,
And
thank
then you just submit it and, okay, great.
you. Sounds good.
All
Appreciate
right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we've approved the meeting minutes. Tom, do you have anything else?
Nope, I just, like I said, I got that TEC from, we just received this, so I didn't put it on tonight's agenda, but
Okay,
I figured I'd provide anyone who's here a copy of it, we can discuss it.
okay. Oh, yeah, their vegetation control program. Okay. So are they gonna be on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yes, well, we just received this, so yeah, I think, what's his name? He'll probably do a remote, because I think he's out of Maine.
All right, so he's gotta do a request, he's gotta do an RDA, right?
He didn't say, I mean, this is the letter we just got, like, he's just sent this to us
Okay,
yesterday.
all right, yeah, it's not clear to me he's gonna do it. All right, we can look into it further. All right, if there's no new business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Don't we have to Did we vote on those RDA
Oh, I'm
determinations?
sorry. God damn. Sorry. You're right, we didn't. Shame on me. Gee, do I want to get out of here? I guess I do. All right, to your point. So for 5 Friedel Street, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we issue a positive determination for 5 Friedel Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. It's a vote. It's unanimous. And then with respect to Luis Guzman, the property at 9 William Street, is there a motion? Is there a motion?
I make a motion for a positive determination.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. It's a vote. Again, unanimous. Folks, if you don't mind, I would prefer to do the order of conditions for 50 Washington Street. I'm sorry, for 319 Washington Street at our meeting on June 11th. Is that agreeable to the board?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much for your attention and attendance this evening.